The tragic story of Douglas Benefield, love, betrayal, and murder. Douglas Benefield was a man who had always believed in second chances. A former Navy veteran, businessman, and entrepreneur, he had built a stable life filled with ambition, resilience, and determination. But in 2016, when he met Ashley Byers, a woman 30 years younger than him, his life took a turn no one could have predicted. What started as a whirlwind romance quickly unraveled into a web of manipulation, obsession, and ultimately murder. Douglas, then 54 years old, had been widowed in 2015 when his first wife, Renee, passed away from illness. The loss devastated him, but he remained focused on his business ventures and raising his teenage daughter, Eva. Despite his grief, he clung to his values and responsibilities, never imagining that love would come his way again so soon. Then, at a conservative political conference in 2016, he crossed paths with 24-year-old Ashley Byers. With her striking beauty and bold charisma, Ashley captured Douglas's attention immediately. An aspiring ballerina, her conversation brimmed with ambition and admiration for Douglas, whose experiences and accomplishments thoroughly impressed her. Their connection was magnetic, and within 2 weeks of meeting, they shocked their families and friends by marrying. For many, the marriage felt impulsive and risky, not just because of their significant age gap, but also due to Ashley's lack of roots and experience compared to Douglas's established life. However, Douglas believed love was worth the leap. What he couldn't see were the red flags lurking beneath Ashley's confident exterior. Ashley brought lofty aspirations to their marriage. One of her most ambitious dreams was to create a ballet company that would redefine the industry. She shared her vision for the American National Ballet, a large, inclusive organization free of rigid constraints, convincing Douglas to fund and co-found it. Driven by his deep affection for her, Douglas threw all his resources into helping Ashley bring her ideas to life. Initially, optimism surrounded the company's inception. Douglas trusted Ashley's passion while using his astute business acumen to run operations, yet the dream quickly began to unravel. Behind the curtain of Ashley's confident persona lay troubling traits. Dancers and staff described Ashley as volatile and impulsive. Clashes over creative differences escalated, and her perfectionism spiraled into a hostile work environment. As financial strain mounted, Ashley grew outwardly hostile toward Douglas, blaming him for their hardships. For Douglas, the marriage grew increasingly toxic. Friends observed how he became weighed down by stress and concern, his once resilient optimism replaced with fatigue and apprehension. His business investments were drained, his health declined under the pressure, and even his close bond with his teenage daughter Eva began to fray as he attempted to juggle a life unraveling at every turn. Ashley's behavior darkened as arguments became routine. She accused Douglas of infidelity and emotional abuse, further isolating him. What had started as a partnership promising creativity and renewal devolved into paranoia, manipulation, and emotional warfare. As one observer later described, Douglas seemed trapped, even desperate, but unwilling to give up. By 2018, it was clear that Ashley's dream of transforming the ballet world had failed. The American National Ballet collapsed under poor management, with exhausted finances and a tarnished reputation. The fallout was devastating for Douglas. Left financially and emotionally drained, he felt humiliated and betrayed. He lost not only the company but also the relationship he had risked so much to build. Ashley decided to cut ties entirely. She moved forward with a divorce, leveling allegations of abuse against Douglas, claims strongly denied by him and those who knew him well. For Douglas, the accusations were a stab to his integrity and character, compounding his heartbreak. Friends described him as a man beaten by circumstance but still determined to rebuild his life. The divorce battles went beyond legal proceedings for their marriage. Custody disputes over their young daughter, Avallee, added further tension. Douglas sought to clear his name and re-establish stability for himself and his children, refusing to allow the past to define his future. But Ashley wasn't done. Though Douglas held hopes of turning the corner, shadows of mistrust, manipulation, and hostility followed, setting the stage for darker days ahead. On September 27, 2020, Douglas decided to visit Ashley's home in Florida to see his daughter, Avallee. What should have been a simple visit for a father eager to maintain his bond with his child, instead turned into the most fateful day of his life. What unfolded next remains shrouded in speculation. Authorities arrived at Ashley's house to the chilling sound of gunshots. Douglas was found dead, killed by multiple gunshots. Ashley claimed self-defense. Her account painted Douglas as a threat, accusing him of breaking into her home and cornering her into using deadly force. Yet, critical details quickly emerged that cast doubt on Ashley's story. There were no signs of forced entry to corroborate her claims. Douglas, known for his patience and composed demeanor, had no history of physical violence. He had traveled all the way to Florida, hardly the behavior of someone intending to harm. Ashley's reputation for erratic and controlling behavior undermined her credibility. Ashley's assertions raised more questions than answers. There seemed to be more beneath the surface of this tragic encounter. As detectives unraveled the events leading to Douglas's death, troubling patterns emerged. Witnesses spoke about Ashley's increasingly unstable behavior in the years leading to the shooting. Her manipulation and frequent paranoia instilled fear in those closest to her, including Douglas. Friends of Douglas reflected on the man they knew, a kind, patient individual with unwavering dedication to his family and integrity. People who were close to him rejected the idea of him being a threat, with some even suggesting that Ashley had deliberately orchestrated the deadly confrontation. The couple's complex past, legal disputes, and Ashley's earlier allegations of abuse became focal points in the investigation. While Ashley insisted she acted out of self-defense, detectives speculated that Douglas could have been lured into a precarious situation, one meticulously planned by Ashley. Despite the glaring inconsistencies in her statements and behavior, Ashley's case was ultimately judged a justifiable homicide. She walked away free, leaving Douglas's family, friends, and supporters devastated. To those who loved Douglas, the ruling was a staggering blow. His family struggled to accept the notion that this compassionate, conflict-averse man could have been posing a threat warranting lethal force. The ache of losing him was compounded by their belief that they would never find the justice Douglas deserved. The unresolved questions surrounding Douglas's death left a vacuum of grief. Ashley's freedom to return to her life felt like an insult to the loss suffered by Douglas's family. Friends described an emptiness not just for Douglas, but for the damage left behind. A daughter who would grow up without her father and a legacy overshadowed by tragedy. Public opinion only deepened the divides. Some saw Ashley as a victim of a toxic relationship and acted in self-preservation. Others viewed her as a manipulative figure who escaped accountability. The saga of Douglas and Ashley Benefield carries a chilling message. It's not merely a story of romance or tragedy, but one of how unchecked obsession and manipulation can destroy lives. While red flags in their relationship existed from the start, they were either ignored or excused in the name of love, highlighting how often warnings are overshadowed by emotional impulses. For Douglas's older daughter, Eva, and the rest of his grieving family, the loss remains unbearable. A devoted father, loyal friend, and ambitious entrepreneur, Douglas's life was cut short in ways no one will ever fully understand. To Eva, the man who had built his world around providing stability, wisdom, and love, was unjustly taken. For Avalee, the daughter caught in the crossfire, her connection to her father is now only a memory shaped by the perspectives of others. As years go by, one inescapable truth lingers. Douglas Benefield's story is a stark reminder of how trust, when misplaced, can lead to devastation. His life, once so full of promise, remains a cautionary tale about love's dark potential to turn from a source of light into a perilous snare. For those left behind, the questions never cease. Was justice truly served? Could Douglas's fate have been averted? These uncertainties continue to haunt the living even as Douglas's memory endures.